don't want to get halfway into construction and no one can get to the courthouse. So you're looking at the new parking lot will be right here. The other thing we're doing is taking this corner, which right now is just a hill with a couple trees on it, and turning it into, excuse me, a beautiful brand new office building. And this office building of 150,000 square feet is capped with a 150-room hotel. I know that the IDA had a new hotel on its agenda for today's meeting. There are 4 new hotels in the planning in Yonkers right now, I think that's right. None of them are in the downtown. This will be the first hotel that's walking distance from both the train here and City Hall. We think this downtown needs a place for outside residents to come and stay so they can visit both offices and the amenities that are in the downtown. Palisades Point, which is at H&I, to give you a little bit of orientation. This is Prospect Avenue, which is the continuation of Neverland Avenue. This is the old Pier Point or Scrimshaw House, and this is the edge of the sugar plant. This is about a 5-acre site. Right now, the grassy area here is what's called the Sculpture Garden. It's a project that the city went about landscaping with an earlier project. This is what we're proposing. This is a 436 2-tower, 2-building scheme, with parking behind. You're looking at townhouses here that line the waterfront. This is what we hope is a world-class building here in Yonkers. Coming up the Hudson on the ferry that's starting next week. This we hope will be the welcoming to visitors to the downtown. Beautiful views of the Palisades, beautiful views of both the Tappan Zee and the George Washington Bridge. And we're designing this as a for-sale product, which will be the first for-sale product on the waterfront here in the downtown of Yonkers. This plan also includes some support retail, 1,800 square feet of a dry cleaner, a bank, a convenience store. It includes both private parking and public parking. Our commitment is to make this an amenity not just to the residents, but to the community around. And so what we've done is we've designed our buildings here with an extension of the Sculpture Garden here. If you have this beautiful park, we're taking this property that's been industrial for years and years and years. We want people to come and visit. And so what we've done is we've added parking here and along the street so you can actually be a visitor and not be a resident and come and access the water. We've got a kayak and a canoe launch here. Our hope is that if the sugar plant someday relocates or closes, that the esplanade continues south. The mayor's vision, which we fully support, is a continuous esplanade from the Bronx all the way up to Greenberg. And we think this is just another step towards that dream. The other thing we're creating is another point of access to the waterfront. One of the limitations is you've got this train track that cuts off the eastern side of the city with the water. And so we're developing a bridge which will come across the train both for cars and for pedestrians. Another access point for people to come and partake in what's going on the waterfront. Here's just a visual of the bridge as we envision going across both with people and with cars. Daylighting is something that has been a dream of the mayors and of the city in general. It's something that we've gotten behind, and we're very committed to it being a great public amenity here in town. We're designing both daylighting at the Park Center as well as on Market Plaza. There's some things tied to that, including additional parking. We've also gone about, with the mayor's help, raising state funds. We've raised $34 million to date. And the budget, we figure it's about a $50 million project to daylight these 2 different areas. This is our dream for Larkin Plaza. The train station is just behind these trees. This is the new library. Larkin Plaza's parking lot would be replaced by a landscaped, beautifully accessible riverwalk. It provides paths and benches. This would be where the train station is. This is where is it the Spanish Memorial is here at the top. We're working with the Parks Department. We're working with the city and the council to make this a reality that comes true. This is where the post office is here to give you a little orientation, and this is the library. The great thing about Chicken Alley, it was an island. The river used to run by it, and when I talk to people in the community, very few people know the river's there. They knew last week during the flood. But believe it or not, there was no penetration of the water in the downtown. Chicken Island stayed dry. There was one parking lot on the north side of Elm Street that had a little bit of water. It didn't impact the parts of the west. There is that property on St. Casimir's that did take in a lot of water. But in our area, the edge held. 100-year storm, we did okay. But our goal is to make it so it's no longer on private property, which it is now. It's no longer hidden behind fences. It's actually a very open public place. So that first graphic that I showed with the plaza was right here. Now the great question is, how do we pay for all of this? There's a development tool that's been used around the country in multiple states. It's called tax increment financing. And it's similar to a pilot which has been used here in Yonkers many times. It's a revenue bond the city issues that pledges part of the tax increment to repay the bond. We estimate we need about $150 million of infrastructure, not for our project, but today. If you look at the problems in the downtown, traffic is already a problem, and the road infrastructure can't handle what's going on. If you look at the water pressure right now, it can't handle what's going on in the southwest. If you look at the water treatment plant, the problem is there's a single pipe here in the downtown, so that stormwater and sewage, sanitary sewage, goes in one pipe. They should be split. And we need to actually invest in that. It's only a problem when it rains because the system overflows. Our project using TIF financing is to assist the city in splitting those pipes and improving the roads, which will allow our project to be created, but just needed today. As the mayor fights for more dollars in the capital improvement budget, he can't afford to fix things that are already broken, and we empathize with that. We think development is the way to solve that problem. We think tax increment financing is a great way of redeveloping the downtown by using our project to fund it. Like I said, it's been used around the country. It's somewhat self-financing because it's a pledge of revenue from our project to repay the bond. We hope it's a first step towards other ways of bringing economic investment into the downtown. While we fix water for our project, it fixes it for everything else as well. Adopted in the early 50s, it's approved in 48 states, including in the state of New York. There's existing municipal law that allows the issuance of TIF here in New York. It's popular because it is self-financing, and it's also non-recourse to the city of Yonkers. This does not.
Has it been used anywhere in the state of New York?
There was a bond that was approved, but dollars were not issued in Greenberg. I've got my counsel in the back who's going to advise me on this. And it has not. There's been no bond issuance in the state of New York. One of the real detractors of TIF for the state of New York is the separation of property tax and school tax. There are only 4 municipalities in New York that have the two combined, including Yonkers, and allows us to use TIF much more effectively. It can be used without the combined system to tax.